And welcome inside another edition of the Justin Ayers podcast. It is the Justin Tucker edition. It's our monthly roundup with my guy Tucker Hickman, talking all things baseball. So this episode, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. It's a juicy episode. Standouts, mid-year awards, the American League is trash, all-star ballots, no more high school draftees potentially, Dodgers playoff talk a lot of O's, and we have some Kyle Schwarber Hall of Fame at the very end. So, Tucker, it's great to see you for our monthly roundup of things.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done one, and there is a lot of great topics.
All right, we're going to start with our standouts. We have a few positive, a few negative. My first standout is somebody who I'm as high as anybody can get on a player right now, and that is Kansas City Royals Jack Caglione. Little side note, when I had batting practice passes for the Royals Nationals the other day, field level, got to see the guys swing it. Jack Caglione's the biggest human I've ever seen. Dude's jacked. So last year when he got called up by the Royals, we talked a lot about him on this podcast because the Royals were going through it offensively. They needed like some offensive firepower. Cags obviously lit it up in college. He comes up last year. He hits like a buck 57. It was not pretty. He looked lost, but you always knew that like the talent and the tools were there. This year in June specifically, Cags is hitting 373 with 9 home runs. He has 4 home runs in a series against the Cardinals. What a fun one to watch that was. He's a star. He's power to all fields. He's not just pulling it. He's got the strongest throwing arm in baseball. Fun fact. If you ever look at his Savant page, just like 2/3 of it is like the deepest red you can possibly get. And it's kind of fun for like, this year I've kind of taken on that role of like a pseudo Kansas City Royals fan. I have watched a lot of their stuff. I just love the core that they're building with Caglione, Carter Jensen, and Bobby Witt Jr. Like, you can look at that trio and think that that's like a top of the lineup you can build around for a while. They're all young. They're all controllable. The only thing that like would bother me when I watch Cags early in the year is like he just wasn't playing against lefties for some reason. They're like, we got to shelter this guy, whatever. He's hitting 282 against lefties this season. So that's as clear of an indicator that if Caglione's not in the lineup every day, we riot. He has been, which has been great. But what have you thought about Jack Caglione this season?
Yeah, I've seen a couple swing breakdowns, and I think the most promising thing to get excited about is the production against the lefties. I I actually watched a really good video on MLB Network where Matt Olson was talking batting lefty lefty, and he's like a big proponent of like he does not understand why more teams don't let their lefties hit off lefties. We're kind of seeing the same thing with the Orioles and Jackson Holiday, where it's like he's basically a platoon guy at this point. Like it's not facing lefties. But Olson's like all growing up through high school, it's like you're facing lefties. It's not like it's something new. Like you have experience with it. So he needs to be playing every day, especially with the Royals where they're at now. I mean, with their record, they can give him the opportunity to play every day. And now that he's playing every day, I mean, the numbers are as advertised. You don't go from having such an accomplished college career to just batting 157 forever in the MLB.
Yeah, it's so he's gotten a lot of run at first base with Vinny Pasquantino going down. I hate to say it, but the Royals offense has looked better without Vinny in there. Obviously, like when he gets back, he'll have a spot or whatever. But yeah, I would like to get Caglione back in the outfield. I think his arm talent is wasted at first base. I think long term he is the right fielder of the future. But yeah, it's interesting to watch, man. Like the Royals aren't technically out of it, so they are, scrapping and clawing, trying to get their way out of the bottom of the wild card race. But don't give up hope, Royals fans. I'm right there with you, fighting the good fight.
Well,
Um,
you hope that Pasquantino's year last year was not an outlier, which I don't think it was. He's talented, he can hit, and I really want to keep Caglione in the outfield because historically, that's where the Royals have always struggled in the outfield. So if you can stick Caglione in right or left, then you just got to worry about your other two outfield positions and fix a spot that historically the team's always been pretty weak at.
it's a good point. Yeah, you're right. I find it hard to believe that Vinny Pasquantino, in the course of a year, has just completely forgotten how to hit 30 home runs and driving 100. So, yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I've watched so many Kansas City Royals games this year. It's just interesting because like I get fixated on like Midwest baseball, and like I'm not from the Midwest, but I have no allegiances, and none of my family's from there. But you'll find me on a random weeknight watching like a Royals or a White Sox or a Reds, just heartland. It's gritty. Um,
Yep.
MLB TV. All right, next one. National starting pitcher Foster Griffin. This is a cool one. So the Nationals have completely flipped their entire organization's like outlook within the course of an offseason by bringing in Paul Taboni as the GM, Blake Butera as the manager. Their front office and their regime and their whole analytics crew deserve so much credit for how they've turned around Foster Griffin. They like they're so good that like to be able to identify guys with talent and be able to get the most out of them. So if you don't remember, Griffin was a first round pick, like probably 2014, I think it was. He hadn't pitched in the big since 22 as a reliever. He goes to Japan for 3 years, does pretty well actually. He comes back and now he's the ace of the Nationals, who are like very thick in the wild card hunt. 8-2 with a 3.15 ERA. Monday night against the Phillies, masterclass, struck out 9. My question for you is that the Nats are in this interesting spot where it's like they are, like I said, in that wild card hunt right now. Griffin's only on a 1 year deal and he's making 5.5, which is like, I'm like, oh my God, 1 year, 5.5 for an ace. They're trying to figure out if they're going to be sellers or buyers. I don't know. I could go either way, but I'm curious what your lean is and like if you think they should sell high on a guy like Foster Griffin.
Well, it's not just Foster Griffin. I mean, it's you got to think about the CJ Abrams piece too. Like he's been tied to trade talks forever. I mean, he's probably like your best shortstop in the NL right now. So I think if they do decide to sell, it's going to be really hard justifying trading both Griffin and Abrams when the team is so close to a wild card spot. If you're a GM and you're looking at the bigger picture, are the Nationals ever going to compete with the Braves, the Brewers, the Dodgers as currently constructed? I'd say no. So I'd lean more towards selling. But at the same time, if you have a shot to make the playoffs where anything can happen, who knows?
Yeah, I kind of lean towards selling Griffin. I mean, I don't want them to trade CJ Abrams. I think the play is for 2027. My worry is that like if they do sneak into that third wild card or like, whatever, just get away into the postseason, that they only really have two dependable arms. It's Griffin and Cade Cavalli. After that, the rotation falls off a cliff. No disrespect to guys like Zach Littell, he's out there trying, but yeah, if you line up your horses for like a postseason series, and it's like, okay, we got Griffin, love it, game 1, Cavalli, game 2, good spot. Dear God, like I don't know what they would get outclassed very quickly in a postseason series. So as much fun as it's been watching our guy Foster, like think of the prospects, dude. Think of the teams out there that need a number 2, number 3 starting pitcher for an established staff. Like, yeah, give me 3 of your top 10 prospects for Foster Griffin. I'll take that.
Yeah, if you can find a way to get prospects back for Griffin and Abrams, set yourself up for the next 3 to 5 years. I think that's got to be the move. You got to think of the long term
Yeah,
success of the team.
nobody
Maybe
thought
the
the Nats would
Dodgers
be
will
any
suck
good.
by then.
That's a
Yeah,
good point. Wait them out. Nobody thought the Nats would be in this spot, so it's kind of fun to have this like dynamics. Everybody's like, all right, we understand it's a rebuild, whatever. It's gonna take a while. All right, who are a couple of your guys that have stood out to you in the positive way this year?
all right. One guy I just want to briefly touch on Ben Rice. You saw flashes of what he could be last year, and I think this year he's completely broken out. One of the best first basemen in the AL. So what if he's being aided by the short porch at Yankee Stadium? Who cares? The biggest question always with that Yankees offense was if Judge goes down, how can this team win? Well, they've been winning for the last month without Judge. And it's not just Rice. Bellinger is playing great. Some of your other role player guys are playing great. And it helps that they probably have the best pitching staff in the AL. But offensively, Ben Rice has been carrying that team. Before Judge went down, Rice's numbers were better than Judge's. Might have been helped by him hitting in front of Judge, but who cares? For me, he's had a great season.
Yeah, he's one of those like under the radar, like doesn't get mentioned with like the upper echelon people in baseball, but yeah, look at his numbers. Like there's the guy can hit. So hey, this is kind of like we did last year, trying to like spread the word about people. Like we just let's get a Ben Rice fan club going.
Yeah, I feel bad about trying to spread the word about people on the Yankees because it's the Yankees and them and the Dodgers' biggest fan bases. Like I'm sure everybody knows about Ben Rice, but Yankee or not, I think he's having a great year.
Who else you got?
The other guy I wanted to hit on was Otto Lopez on the Marlins, your MLB hits and average leader with a 336 average. The thing I find most fascinating about him is his story. He born in the Dominican Republic, signed out of the Dominican Republic. He didn't make it to the MLB for 5 years. Saw like a couple games here and there in 21, 22. Was ultimately DFA'd by the Blue Jays. The Giants picked him up. Then the Marlins end up getting him off of waivers from the Giants. Now he's probably going to lead the league in averages here on a Marlins team, which is surprisingly doing a lot better than people thought. Quite an
I
impressive story.
I really like that combo of him and Xavier Edwards. Like, yeah,
Like
just like the
fast
two
on
that,
base machines.
yeah, like I think we touched on. I don't know if it was maybe it was Xavier Edwards a couple years ago, but just like the Marlins' ability to just like develop these guys. They're so good with position players. And you're right. Yeah, I mean they're 3 games over 500 and only one out of a wild card. So it's going to get interesting in the NL this season with them. It's like the whole NL. We'll talk about this in a second, but just like NL's killing it. Like every team in the NL is, for the most part, with a few exceptions, are just like they're so competitive, which is a stark contrast to the American League. But no,
And the
I
Marlins
think
have a good young rotation. Like they can be pretty competitive for the next couple of years. Max Meyer dealing down there.
dog. Yeah, got a pretty good closer down there too. Um, all right, couple negative ones. I this isn't gonna sound great, but some negative standouts this year. It's Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts. I hate to do it. It's a lot of the Padres lineup. But combined, these guys are making $77 million, and combined, they are hitting 228. So Tatis has come on as of late, but the Padres offense, if people aren't keeping up with this, there's the worst in baseball. They're going to be shattering franchise records for lows if this continues. It is very frustrating to try to watch the Padres play offense. Somehow they're in the wild card race. I guess like my question to you is like, where would they be without Mason Miller?
Uh, I knew coming into this year, I thought they were going to have a down year, but I thought it was going to be more because of the rotation, not the offense. The offense is just falling off a cliff. It almost reminds you of the Braves kind of last year, how they just kind of fell off. But the Padres is just abysmal, dude. Tatis, the lack of homers, like where is that? You got Machado batting sub 200. Merrill was like the next star. I put him up there with like Churio, like dudes like that. And he's just forgotten how to hit.
Yeah, Manny hitting 185. Tatis has 3 home runs. Well, Tatis has got the average, and he's batting 286 this year. But yeah, when you're paying, I mean, Xander Bogaerts has not worked out at all for them. I think they would like to have that deal back if they could have it. When you're paying guys that much, and it sucks because like they all have had, well, except with the exception of Merrill, like you just touched on, like they all have had established track records in the show. These guys can hit the ball. To have them all go quiet at the exact same time is troubling. Um, but like I said, Mason Miller 21 saves, like he's 34 innings, he's allowed 3 runs. So like,
Well, he gets a lot of opportunities when your offense is scoring you 2 to 3 runs a game.
yeah,
So it works out in his favor. But if your offense is being led by Gavin Sheets, no offense to Gavin Sheets, he's having a really good
friend
year,
of the
but
show.
he's having a really good year, but he can't do it by himself. You need the guys you're paying the big money to. Imagine what Sheets' number could do if he's hitting all these homers with people on base.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point
He had
about
more RBI opportunities.
that's a good point about just like the closer too. Like in an ideal world, you wouldn't want your closer to have 21 saves by the All-Star, like in June 24th. Like you'd like to have a lot more blowout wins. Like you'd
You think
prefer
the
that.
Yankees and Dodgers closers are getting a lot of saves? No, because they're winning 11-3 every game.
That's a good point. People need to be talking about that. All right, who's your negative standout?
My negative is the San Francisco Giants as a whole. But if you narrow it down to one player on the Giants, I think the standout is Devers. For the first 2 months of the season, like he was the worst player in baseball. Like when you factor the salary into it, absolutely terrible. I think 2 months in the year he had a 50 WRC plus, way below league average. Now the silver lining of this is he has picked it up a bit in June. He hit his 11th homer of the season the other day. Across June, he's hitting 250 with a 388 on base, so that's pretty good. But apart from Devers, like the Adams move that they made signing him, he just appears to be a shell of what he was in Milwaukee. And when you look at the overall build of the team, it's a $210 million payroll. That's not a team that should be 14 games under 500.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously the Giants have been the talk of baseball for a multitude of reasons. Devers is a lot of that. I love when Devers called out the media the other day. What was it? What did he say? The media in general, you guys just blow everything out of proportion. I think that's a reflection of why I don't really talk to you guys. So it's the media's fault. So shout out them. But
He waved
yeah,
off a pinch runner. Too. Vitello tried to pinch run for him, and he waved him off and refused to come off.
what a clown show that whole like team season has been. Like every week, like my Twitter has like some other thing. It's whether it's like Tony Vitello quoting the town or just like some other weird cringy shit he's doing in his like post game press conferences. It's very obvious he's in over his head as a manager. The roster construction, like you just pointed out, like that's a reflection of Buster Posey, like taking massive swings, trading for Devers, signing Adames, like all these guys, like nothing has worked. Like it's pretty impressive to see how badly this year has turned out.
And I don't think like a lot of people like to shit on Vitello, but if you look at any major sport, I feel like college coaches just do not make the jump well to professional sports. Nick Saban couldn't hack it in the NFL. Urban Meyer couldn't hack it in the NFL. College basketball rarely brings college coaches up to the NBA. Like there's a lot of expectations put on him. I don't know if a head coaching job was the right thing right away. And then Buster Posey, love Buster Posey as a player, but Michael Jordan was a pretty good player too. And I think he proved that really good players don't always belong in the front offices of teams. So I don't know if it's another situation like that going on here as well.
One thing that's always kind of bothered me is that like teams that so clearly need a veteran established managing voice in the clubhouse turn to first year guys who have no idea, who are learning on the job. Like, and it's, some of this stuff isn't Vitello's fault. Like I said, it is his first year and he is trying to figure out, find his footing. But, God, like his feel for the game has been bad as like from what I'm seeing, like his ability to communicate like effectively with the guys and with the media. Like we've, it's been widely talked about. He's just like, he's such a strange quote machine every time he speaks into a microphone. So, yeah, I don't know what it is. Like if it's the analytics front office saying we got to have a younger analytics coach, like whatever happened to like a Buck Showalter. Like, we'll talk about the Orioles in a minute, but just like I watched Craig Albernaz, who's kind of in that same boat, first year manager, no clue what he's doing. Like, where are the guys who've been in the dugout for 30 years who smoke cigarettes? Where are those people?
It's like I remember when I was younger, I thought Ozzie Guillen was like the craziest manager ever. And it's kind of like the movie Tropic Thunder, like how that movie could not be made today. Like I don't think a guy like him could coach today. I just don't think like the players would accept it, the media would accept it. But I feel like that's like what you need. Just the Jim Leland, Ozzie Guillen, just like where are those dudes?
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Bochy won a World Series in his first year in Texas. So
Hmm.
yeah, that this trend in baseball has been very disheartening to watch. And it's going to continue. Like you're going to see, like, I mean, obviously this year we had like I think it was like 8 new managers for the first time or something. It was crazy. So, yeah. But to put a bow on this, the Giants just is a gong show. It's just a complete and utter like just like sit back, get some popcorn, and watch it burn down this year. It's not pretty.
Eldridge has been positive.
Yes, yes, he has.
Not a big sample size, but power as advertised, decent average. Hasn't struck out really at the clip that I expected him to. He's striking out a good amount, but I expected it to be even worse. So maybe that's something.
Not as bad as I thought. Yeah. Um, all right, let's shift gears. Let's talk a little mid-season awards because I think it was game 81. Maybe whenever we're recording this, like game 81 is within the last day or something. It's like hard to keep up because there's these midweek 1 p.m. starts are killing me. However, I think it's a good time to take some stock, look back on the first half of the season that was, do some talk about some of the awards, kind of see where we're thinking for some of the big ones. For for the we're gonna do MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, and obviously World Series. This is kind of a good like I should pull up. Do I have that off the cuff? Whatever we talked about. Yes. 20 so we should compare these to our 2026 MLB predictions where this was March 19th when we did these. My AL and NL MVPs were Judge and Shohei, and I would like to amend the AL and put Yordan Alvarez in there because he demolishes baseballs. My preseason Cy Youngs were Scooble and Skeens. I would like to amend that to be Cam Schlittler and Jacob Mizorowski. It's just tough. We didn't do Rookie of the Years before, but I think it's McGonigal and Weatherholt. And then the World Series before the season, I said Dodgers over Mariners. I'm going to put Dodgers over Yankees. So
Interesting. We don't have a lot of disagreements here. I don't remember my MVPs and Cy Youngs, but I'm sure they're drastically different now from what I had. Shohei is going to be the NL MVP again. The only guy who can really contend with him is Schwarber, but I mean, with what Shohei's doing on the mound, like Schwarber's not going to pass him. Shohei's going to three-peat. I don't have Jordan. I kind of cheated a little bit because I know it's supposed to be the mid-year award, but I'm projecting out through the full season. I think Nick Kurtz is going to win it.
Big Amish.
Dude, he is crushing homers, playing in that park. He's going to finish. I think he's probably going to finish around 45 homers. RBI machine, a ton of walks, great eyes. I think Kurtz is going to win it. I think he's going to pass Jordan. I think Jordan being a DH probably going to help Kurtz a little bit. For Cy Young, I have no disagreements with you. I have Schlittler and Mizorowski. Mizorowski, like the only knock against him last year was all the walks. Where did his command come from? The dude just paints the box. I don't understand. And then Rookie of the Year, I have Murakami and I have Sal Stort.
Your preseason MVPs were Bobby Witt and Juan Soto. Your preseason Cy Youngs were who's Crochet and Skeens.
We were big Skeens guys. For the World Series, I also have the Yankees beating the Braves.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think the Yankees rotation is the best in baseball. But the caveat to that, they have to make some moves at the deadline. The bullpen's still a mess. Can still probably fix a couple positions, but I think that rotation can carry them.
It's a good segue into I don't know, like so I like to keep up with the standings. I like to try to see where my teams are at. And one trend from this whole season that I've really keened in on is just how bad the junior circuit is. The American League is so bad, especially compared to the National League. Of the teams with the top 5 run differentials in baseball, the AL has one. It's the Yankees plus 111. It's the Dodgers and Brewers in first and second, then Yankees, then Braves, then Cubs. So it's just shocking to me. Growing up as an American League fan, I love rooting for the AL in the All-Star game every year. What happened to the league that we loved? Where has all of the star power and the dominance from the American League gone, Tucker?
Well, the star power is what I wanted to touch on. I think the AL has a star problem. Aaron Judge injured again. Cal Raleigh out, even though he kind of sucked before he was injured anyway. I don't know what the deal is with that. Gunnar Henderson, his OPS is hovering right around 700. Sure, he's hitting homers, but he's batting 220. Vladimir Guerrero, 4 home runs. Roman Anthony hurt. Murakami doing great, then gets hurt. Langford hurt. Corey Seager not hitting. Altuve, he's older now, but not hitting and hurt. And that's just on the offensive side. Pitching, you got Scooble, Crochet, Hunter Brown, Max Fried, guys who finished kind of all together. You got a first, second, third, and fourth in last year's AL Cy Young voting, all on the IL. So it's just a star problem in the AL. The good teams don't have their stars playing, and I think it's just affecting the overall records. It's messing the flow of the rotation, the flow of the lineups. It's not good.
I think it's that because you're right. I also think it's just because like when the schedule became more balanced, you went from having, what was it, 19 or 18 in division games a year down to 13. Everybody in the league plays each other at least once. Like there's so many like things that have got like the schedule. The National League is just whooping up on American League teams. Like the standings grid, like the Dodgers. Like the Dodgers, let's just see who they've uh it's like I just feel like the disparity in between the leagues and the run differential, I think, has become exacerbated by the fact that the AL just has so many shittier teams. Like teams are going to go in there and whoop up on the Angels, no offense, whoop up on the Red Sox. Like there's just so many like bottom feeders in the AL as compared to the NL that like anytime it's that rare fun, like, oh, Shohei's in our town this week, he's just gonna whoop your ass. So I think that's part of it as well.
Because I was going to try to make the argument that the reason the run differentials aren't as high, the record disparity is so drastic. I was going to try to come at from the viewpoint of, well, there's more parity in the American League. The teams are more evenly balanced, more competitive, but it's really not. It's like what you said. NL, when they have the interleague games, they're beating up on the AL. There's all the bottom feeders in the AL this year. It feels like really every team minus a few in the NL are all within wild card distance. Like it just feels like the AL is a much weaker league.
I found it. So the Brewers are 21 and 12 against the AL. The Dodgers are 19 and 10. The Reds even are 19 and 11. So I think it's that. I also think that like so there's like some teams that we in the AL that we expected to have way better seasons. Obviously, the Orioles were one of them, and currently as of taping, they're 38 and 44. Teams like the Rangers haven't gotten it going. The Astros, like the Red Sox, even like there's
Tigers,
just
the Tigers, what
the
a
Detroit
disaster!
Tigers, dude, 34 and
What a
45.
disaster! And
Um,
that was a team that added guys. How do you get that much worse?
yeah, no, it's insane. It sucks to see. I think the injuries are a big part of it too. I mean, like Mike Trout, we didn't talk about him. So that feeds into the star power, which feeds into whenever the interleague series happens that the poor Angels get beat up on. So, um, yeah.
Angels were my sleeper team going into the year. Boy, was I wrong.
Although I will give you that like first week when they started so hot, and I was like, is this did we do it? Did we Nostradamus predict this right? No.
Yeah, Trout looked like he was back. They were hitting homers, playing great defense. Joe Adele was going crazy, and then yeah, fell off a cliff. So
It was a bold swing, man. Sometimes you got to do that. You got to take a big hack. Um,
yep, I was
so
wrong. I'll admit it.
it happens. All-Star games coming up. Midsummer Classic this year in Philadelphia. Very excited for that. The ballots the voting's almost done, or if not done all the way. I fill that one. So I don't want to run through all of mine, but because I'll make a graphic for it. But I think there's just a couple key things that I wanted to kind of zig when everybody else zags. So in MVP voting, I had Nick Kurtz at the AL first base. He leads all first basemen in WAR in baseball, but he's fourth in voting. I don't really understand that. This is probably some of the popularity contest stuff. I like Travis Bazana a lot. Probably saying his last name wrong. You can roast me. I don't care. He has the highest OPS of any AL second baseman, but he's fifth in voting. Don't really get that. And then Caglione, as we talked about, we got to get Cags in the outfield. So, yeah, AL and the All Star side, like I don't like for the most part, the fans 1-2s are pretty much on it, but there's also some like, why not?
Yeah, a couple. I'll call out Dylan Dingler on the Tigers at catcher. Dude's got 18 homers, batting 280. Top three catcher in the league right now. Kind of feel like Langoliers is getting all the love at AL catcher, but statistically, if we're just going off of that for unbiased All Star voting, Dingler I think is better. Um, Byron Buxton, another guy that dude's third in homers right now. Like he definitely needs to get into the All Star game. He's definitely worthy of it. Um, a couple of positions I want to call out. You mentioned Bazan at second base and how he has the highest OPS. It doesn't really mean much when the highest OPS at second base in the AL is like a 720. Um, when you're kind of looking at the ballots, I think the two weakest positions are AL second base. Bazan is really the only guy to pick. And then if you look at NL third base, really the only guy you have to choose is Max Muncy. Those positions are brutal, brutal. Another group I was looking at that was really weak is the AL outfield, especially with Judge being hurt, because he's supposed to be healthy again, I think, right after the All Star break. So he's not going to play in the All Star game. But man, it is weak. For my outfield selections, I had Caglione, Buxton, and Bellinger. On the inverse of that, the NL outfield is loaded, dude.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many subs. You got Corbin Carroll, James Wood, Walker, and there's guys Juan Soto. Like the numbers are insane. Someone's going to get snubbed, and it's going to be unfortunate.
Yeah, my AL outfield, I have Randy, a Rosarena. I just
Yep.
where is he at? And I have the vote totals pulled up. Right now, the AL, it's the last update. It was Judge, Trout, Buxton were the top three, and then Bellinger, obviously, who's killing it. Not a lot to choose from though.
You could make the case for Trout, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's still batting 234 on a struggling team. Sure, he's hitting some homers, but those were all really hit in the first month and a half. I think the back's starting to set in, and he's just not the same. It's tough to watch.
Some interesting ones on the NL side. I had Brandon Lau as my NL starting second baseman. He leads all second basemen in baseball in home runs, but he's seventh in voting. Where are the Pirates fans at? This is like the voting leader right now is Ozzy Albies from the Braves, which is like, okay, cool, whatever. Don't really understand that. The
NL
Rockies,
second base is low key. Like they got a lot of decent players in NL second base. It's a deep pool to vote there. Lowe's not
yeah,
getting enough love though.
Lau. He gets very.
Yeah.
Uh, the MLB article said possibly the most competitive position overall was the NL second base. So I don't understand how Hunter. I mean, I think Hunter Goodman was an All Star last year because every team needed one, but he leads all catchers in home runs and all National League catchers in WAR, but he's fifth in voting. Don't really
Because
understand
he's
that.
hitting all the homers in course.
They still they still count. They're still homers.
I had Baldwin over Goodman.
Yeah, it's where is he at? And yeah, Baldwin's the number one overall for catchers, 1.75 million votes. Jesus, Hunter Goodman's fifth in voting. Like I said, my NLDH I had Schwarber just because I'm like I'm all set. Shohei's gonna get him regardless, but if I have one vote, I would like Kyle Schwarber and his 29 home runs to get in there. So whatever.
Put put Otani in as a pitcher so that clears up the DH spot for Schwarber.
Just like how they need to make another award for him so he stops winning the MVP every year.
We got to see Schwarber in the home run derby again too. I want to see that.
Guys, you know who else we want to guys see in there too is Caglione. Give me
I wouldn't
Cags.
mind that. Put all the big boys in there. Get Alonso in there again. Get Basayo on the
Nope.
Orioles.
I'm out. No, and for that reason, I'm out. Alonso's done it 1,000 times. Let other people
Yeah,
do it.
let him win what? It'd be his third win. Let him get it.
It's like he had to run there every year for like 5 years. Pete, let other people
James
do it.
Wood. James would be an exciting one to watch in there.
He was in there last year.
Put him in again.
Yeah, I mean that. There's some guys I wouldn't mind having a repeat. All right, let's shift gears. Let's talk MLB draft. So this is big. Some pretty big news. Rattled a lot of feathers. This week was ruffle a lot of feathers. It was just like the MLB made a series of proposals about like doing the entire draft prospects process. They said high school players were no longer to be eligible. Players would need to wait to be at least 20 years old and be 2 years out of high school to be drafted. 4-year college players would become draft eligible after their sophomore instead of junior. The draft would be from 20 down to 12 rounds. They would create a 12-round international draft for players outside the U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico. The international signing age would go up from 16 to 18, and then the domestic signing bonus pools would be cut from 360 to 200 million hard cap was the MLB. There's a couple other minor stuff in there too, but those are the big ones. Obviously, the no high school players being eligible to be drafted anymore. People didn't love that, understandably so. And I like our guy David Sampson a lot. We watch and share his videos back and forth with each other, but he had a video with just some weird, outlandish points. He said owners hate how much money they spend on players who never make it. They spend 10 times as much on players who don't make it compared to the other leagues. The owners love the other leagues models where college is a free minor league. And it's like, well, it's hard to argue with college football. That system works. So what has been your take when you saw this whole proposal that I pray to God never becomes reality?
Yeah, it's definitely all about the owners getting to cut more minor league teams, not have to pay as many players. I'm kind of indifferent on it. I don't want to judge it until I'd actually see it play out. I was looking at some of the stats, like players who are drafted rounds 11 to 15, only about 11% of them, are a little over, close to 12, actually make the MLB. And then when you look at the later rounds, like 16 to 20, it's only about 7% of players. So let's be real, most of those are like your relief, your bullpen guys. There's not too many guys drafted late that turn into some kind of superstar. And what they're proposing is also doing a 12 round international draft. I think that's a good kind of balance. Between the two, you're still getting 24 rounds. So I'm not I'm kind of torn on it. What I don't like about the international draft, what that looks like, it's like I feel that like that kind of bails out the teams who don't put as much effort into their international scouting, development, signing. I feel like that's just giving a cop out to those teams
I mean,
and punting in teams that do invest in that.
for years, the Orioles never signed anybody internationally.
Yeah, and it's
um,
just when you get into comparing it to the other sports, like college
they,
baseball isn't getting the kind of NIL money that like basketball and football are. But at the same time, like it's weird because you look at a sport like the NBA, like LeBron obviously came straight out of high school, but when you go back, like Jordan, Magic, Bird, like they all went to college and then went straight to the NBA. So it's like I don't know. I feel like baseball's like has a deep history of getting guys straight out of high school that's worked, and I don't like messing that up and forcing them to go to college.
I mean, Connor Griffin would be having to go sit through college, having to become a student athlete when he doesn't have to. There's just so much wrong with the idea of getting rid of the high school part of it and forcing everybody to go to college. Like you talked about, just like college baseball doesn't have the resources as college football. Go watch like a mid-major baseball and like go watch like a even a MAC college football game. It's not comparable. Like college football and basketball are the main revenue sources for college athletics. And to, put all of that burden onto college baseball, which I don't know if you've noticed, but college baseball coaches, they're on the hot seat every year and they're trying to win. I saw a great tweet from CJ Nikowski. He said, MLB trying to sell us that college is the best place to develop players while I'm watching an 18-year-old who threw 5 innings yesterday come into a game today in a 2-0 count with runners on. That was a UNC game he was talking about. But just like college arms, they just burn the hell out of them. You'll throw 150 pitches in college, and then you'll be like, no rest, get out there again tomorrow. So they don't give a shit about development. They're trying to win games. They're trying to win championships. They're very under resourced. Like, there's so many small colleges that like it's not even, the guys are probably having to share a weight room with the tennis team. So I don't like the idea. I just think the owners see college like football and like, well, these guys go straight to the NFL. It's like, yeah, college football and NFL are the same sport for the most part. There's like obviously some minor tweaks, but like metal bat in college, the baseball has way bigger seams in college, so you can spin it more. Like the idea of like using that as a free minor league system, it's like it's so very clear that the owners only want to save money. So anything that they can look at to try to like, oh, we can just what if we just do that? And also just like getting rid of like 8 rounds of the draft when it already was cut down from like I think it was like 50 before.
Yeah.
Organizations need depth. Where are you supposed to find depth at?
Well, it all ties back to the money. I was reading an article that over the next 5 years, it's projected to cut. The proposed changes would cut about $1 billion to player compensation. Just from this year to next year alone, if the changes were implemented, it'd be a $400 million compensation decrease. So I think Sam's is right. It's all about the money. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it just we can't let them get away with this. We can't let the billionaire owners find more ways to kill this game of baseball. Like they're already trying, dude. If they had it their way, like with a salary cap and all this other stuff, like it would. I just hate that it just keeps like, oh well, NFL has a salary cap and their revenues always go up, and it's like I'm as like pro player as I can possibly be, and I don't understand how everybody isn't. just because I feel like they get framed as being like greedy or like, they leave my favorite team and they're dead to me. Like, it's just, I get so worked up about this because it's like, it pisses me off, dude. Like,
And
it's
I mean,
such bullshit.
part of paying those players is for the fan base too. Like your diehard fans give a shit when the teams drop their top 30 prospect list every year. When we see that drop, like I was excited to see Mayo come up and Heston and Dylan Beavers. Like the diehard fans care about that. It builds up like the connection to the team, and the fans get excited when they finally come up. It's like you got to invest in the prospects, but the owners just don't want to do it.
They've already gutted the minor league system. They've already, shed like the number of affiliates has decreased a lot. I forgot under the league's proposal, going back to like the rounds of the draft and stuff, any player not picked in the 12 rounds becomes an undrafted free agent, capped at a maximum of a $10,000 bonus. So that means you could either take a massive pay cut and take 10 grand, or you could just never play baseball ever again professionally. So it's like, it, like I'm all like, people don't understand like from the minor league level that like not every player down there is a top prospect. That like, first of all, there are some guys who are late bloomers who need like 3 or 4 years in the minor leagues to grow and develop, which is what it's there for. But like when they cut the affiliates and they cut the rounds of the draft down, that's less like depth, and you need depth for like, practice. You need depth for like making the guys around them better. Like there's a lot of minor leaguers who never obviously get called up, and that's what owners hate because they're like, we spent so much money on this. Like why? Like why are we wasting money? This guy's never even going to get called up, and it's like they serve a purpose. Every minor league player serves a purpose.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's just it sucks to see for the players, but I get a feeling like a lot of this stuff will probably get, you know, debated on, and I think it'll come out to like a good happy medium on both sides.
Yeah, I hope so. It's usually how they go. Like you have to give a little in negotiations, art of the deal type shit. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I gotta calm down. Let's talk about something even more relaxing. Let's talk about who can beat the Dodgers in the playoffs, because I don't think anybody. I had this thought because obviously, like we talked about, like the standings in the NL are so drastic that like it's basically just like, I feel like everybody in the NL is pretty good, but there are a few teams at the top. It's the Braves, the Brewers, and the Dodgers at the tops of their divisions. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. Um, my question to you is that like in a playoff series, which of those teams do you trust to be able to take it to the Dodgers and potentially beat them?
So I think the only real competitors in like a NLCS type series would be the Brewers and the Braves. I lean more towards the Braves just because I think they have the bigger stars. I think they have better veterans. But realistically, it's the Brewers and the Braves. If the Brewers go up against them, you would need two great starts out of the Mizorowski, and then probably two great starts out of Kyle Harrison, and just pray that your offense can figure it out. But on the Braves side, I trust Acuna, Baldwin, Olson to get it done over Churio, Yelich, and whoever the Brewers feel like batting 3, 4, 5 in their lineup that day.
Yeah, it's so the Dodgers, obviously they have the best offense in baseball in OPS. Their second run scored, the fourth best team ERA. That's without Blake Snell for most of that. Um, the Braves are an interesting one because they did take 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers earlier this year. They have a better team ERA. The pitching matchup for them versus the Dodgers in a postseason series would be like Yamamoto, Sale will be fun. Otani, Lopez, okay. Glasnow, Bryce Elder. Nope, that's obviously going LA's way. Even Sasaki, Grant Holmes, like that's kind of the theme though. I feel like it's just like the way that LA can run like 4 aces out there in a playoff series. That's why people really are like, I was reading a Reddit thread about this, about just like the Brewers, because somebody was like, who's beating this team in the playoffs? And it had like the Miz and Kyle Harrison, and it was like, this team can pitch the ball. And it was like, yeah, but their offense, if you think back to the NLCS last year, they scored 4 runs in 4 games against the Dodgers. Um, so and also just like the way that the Brewers lineup's constructed, they're the third fewest homers in baseball. Where's the clutch 2 runners on? Where's the 3-run homer coming from in Milwaukee, Tucker?
Uh, yes, great question.
Jake
It's
Bowers,
not.
maybe?
It's not going to come. like I said, all those reasons are the same kind of rationale I have behind giving the Braves a slight edge over the Brewers for being able to knock the Dodgers off. The Braves can hit homers and they can pitch. I think if the Braves really want to get serious, you have to try to bring in like another like number two, number three type starter at the deadline. But
Scooble.
yeah, if the Tigers will give him up, I mean, he'd be a great one. But the Dodgers want him too, so who knows?
I did see that too. That would be hilarious. I also saw another take that the Brewers need to face the Dodgers in the NLDS instead of the NLCS because they would have a better shot in a shorter series because the Dodgers have four aces. So they're already like if we run it back NLCS 2.0, it's gonna be the same thing.
It still feels like the Dodgers are more beatable this year than they were last year. Like Mookie Betts numbers are way down. Kyle Tucker's not looking great. I think he's got like 6 homers and like
Yeah, he's bad.
30 RBIs, batting like 230. Pitchers are hurt. Bullpen's not elite. So, but if the Dodgers make it out of the NLCS to go to the World Series again, the Yankees AL wise, that's the only team that can knock them off.
Mhm.
And we've
100%.
already seen that story play out before. We know how it ends.
Seen that movie. Yeah. It's crazy to like already be like thinking about like a playoff matchup in June, but you know, sometimes things feel kind of inevitable. I want to shift gears again because I have to talk about the Orioles. I feel like we've gone way too long in this podcast without talking about the Baltimore Orioles. It's the state of the O's at the halfway point. Like we said, actually, I 38 and 44 as of taping this with a horrific loss to the Angels today. But that means they're 2.5 out of a wild card, 11 out of the division. So they have their 22nd team ERA with a 4.42. They but eighth most runs in baseball, so you know they can hit the ball a little bit. I'm curious. So positives and negatives. I feel like you're a little more locked in with the O's this season. What are some things that you've liked, and what are some things you haven't liked?
I haven't liked anything. That's easy. The only
Nothing.
thing I've liked so far this year is Blaze Alexander and Sammy. That's the only two things I've liked. The rotation is terrible. Terrible. Same problem every year. But hey, we thought Chris Bassett was going to fix it. We thought Chris Bassett was going to fix it. Rogers, what does he have? Like a 6 ERA? The bullpen. Name a guy who has an ERA under 4.
Rico Garcia.
And even he's been getting shelled lately. The defense. Oh my God. The thing that grinds my gears the most about this team is the defense. Leody Taveras had 3 errors in 4 games. How do you do that in the outfield? We lost to the Dodgers. Could have swept them, lost them because of an error in the bottom of the ninth. Lost today to the Angels in the bottom of the 10th because of an error. This team defensively is atrocious. There's no fundamentals. I don't know what development is happening. Gunners fell off a cliff. You think Pete Alonso's been a bright spot? Look up his average with runners in scoring position, would you? Just look it up.
Runners in scoring position 212.
Yep, 212. Mr. Clutch. $35 million man, Pete Alonso. 212 with runners in scoring position.
All right,
All of
let's
Gunner's homers, none of them are clutch. It's all solo shots. You want to strike him out, throw the ball in the top right hand corner of the strike zone. He can't reach it. He hasn't his entire career. That's how they strike him out every at bat. I hate this team.
there it
I
is.
love the pain. I
It's
love
a
the pain.
humiliation ritual watching the Orioles. All right, let me scale it back a little bit. I have a few positives that I have actually enjoyed from this team so far. Pete Alonso. I mean, people were worried that he was on the downslope of his career a couple years ago. He currently leads the Birds in homers and ribs. He's playing the best
212
defense of
runners
his
in scoring position.
okay.
212.
He's playing the best defense of his career at first base. That's your everyday first baseman. That's a good one. Hey, that deal worked. That deal worked. It's fine. The pitching has gotten better as of late. For so long, like especially in the month of April, it was unwatchable. But Trevor Rogers, 2.22 ERA in June. Brandon Young has burst onto the scene with his 6-2 record and a 3.07 ERA. Bradish since May is good. So just throwing
Yeah,
that
because
out
he
there.
stopped walking 5 batters a game.
Also fair. Blaze, dude, I'm buying all the Blaze Alexander stock I can get. Leads the team in average and OPS. My thought about Blaze is that like I don't want people to think of him as just like a purely like utility guy because that's like kind of like a diss at like what kind of player he is. I mean, obviously, you think of like all the positions he can play. I think he's just like an offensive weapon that just happens to be able to play like 5 positions. He's like more of a Kike Hernandez and a Ryan Flaherty. No disrespect, shout out the goat, but um, so I think Blaze has worked out way better than anybody could have thought. Obviously, 300 average is crazy. The defensive metrics though are weird though. They don't love him in the outfield, so try to keep his feet on the dirt as much as possible. His outfield is -5 defensive run saved. His defense at third is 4. So it's not look. Some Mayo has had a lot of good home runs this year, so I don't want to just discount all of the Mayo. Give me some. I don't want a big.
188 with 2 strikeouts a game.
I don't want all
188
the
average,
Mayo,
two
but
strikeouts a game.
I think he'll figure it. There's just a relentless optimist in me. Like there's just you won't be able to get me to drink all of the negative energy in, but um if I had to though, like you touched on it, the defense, I had some numbers that just blew my mind. As an outfield unit, Birds are 26 and outs above average. Overall, they're 23rd as a team. Mayo and Tavares both have -4. You mentioned it, that Tyler O'Neill throw an error against the Dodgers cost them a game. People forget also in the month of June against the Padres, Gunnar and Jackson combined for 3 errors on 2 batted balls. So those guys as an up the middle combo, shout out. You touched on this also, but just like the way fundamentals in baseball aren't being taught. Like we think back to when we were coming up and being kids, and it's like watching a Showalter team and a Bobby Dickerson infield. That shit wouldn't have flown. It's just like I don't understand what like the developmental track these guys are on. It's all launch angle and offense. And it's like, oh shit, we have to play defense too. It's like they completely forgot that there's a whole other side of the baseball.
Like Gunnar Henderson, he had his 7th error of the year today. I don't know if he's pressing or what, but with him, it's not even the defense. I've never seen a dude get picked off or back picked by a catcher more than Gunnar Henderson this year. It's like 5 or 6 times it's happened. Like I don't know if he's pressing or just not mentally there. Like, what is he doing?
He has gotten picked off first base a lot.
God, you
Yeah,
mentioned the name. You said the name, Tyler O'Neill. Why would you even say that name? You want to send a message to the team? Cut his ass. Cut him.
the
Get
general.
rid of him. What the hell does he hit the gym? Why is he so jacked? He can't hit the ball.
He's reached a level of jack that it's actually detrimental, I think, to his overall like baseball ability.
The only way
Um,
to fix the outfield defense would have been to resign Cedric Mullins so we could have watched him just bat 170 again and hit foul pop-ups every at bat. Like, we don't need that. There's no way. It's unfixable. It's unfixable.
there was a quote. I sent you this article this week. It was from The Athletic. It was a long piece about just like the Orioles. And there was a quote in there I wanted to say. It was the perception both inside and outside the organization is that offense moved to the forefront of their position player development, in part because of the increasingly available swing data. Fundamentals were not ignored. They weren't emphasized either. God, it's very clear watching this team that, yeah, everything has gone into uppercut the ball, pull side. Everybody try to hit it out. Chicks dig the long ball. Oh crap, there's a ball hit at me. I don't know what to do.
What offense? What offense? The highest OPS we have in our lineup today was Pete Alonso with like a 760.
Like
The
I
only
said,
guy with a close to elite OPS is Pete Alonso.
they're
Like
eighth in
Gunner's barely over 700. Everyone else is like 600 OPS. Like they're not hitting well.
they're eighth in runs
No
scored.
aspect of the team.
Eighth in runs
What's
scored.
up?
They're eighth in runs scored.
I don't know how to explain it, but the
They do
offense
like
isn't good.
I mean, well, Taylor Ward has been a lot of that. He has 51 runs on the season. His like almost 400 on base is just out of nowhere. When we got Taylor Ward, I would have much preferred him. Like I want the power. He's slugging 361 and his on base is 389. I would have thought that would have been wildly different. 5
He's a walk
homers.
merchant, but at least he has 4 more homers than Grayson Rodriguez, who we traded him for.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Deadline predictions. I think the only piece they have to sell, or maybe the big one's Ward. He's obviously like a free agent at the end of the year, so they got to get rid of him. But like, if that's my question to you is that like, if that's the biggest piece we have to sell, I mean, maybe Rico Garcia, maybe, but like, does it even make sense to sell at all? Given like, I don't know, dude. They could get weird. Were they 2.5 out of a wild card? Like they don't. If they had more to sell, I would be like, yes, absolutely. But now I'm like, what is even the point?
Gonna run it back for the third straight year, fourth straight year, really?
It, the other thing that came to mind was just like Elias does feel like he's GMing for his life right now. Because like I feel like he knows he's on the hot seat. So like, what does it say about him as a GM if he sells? He probably is like so wound up, and he's like, crap. Even if we're not really ready to make a run for it, like, well, let's buy it. Let's do a 2023 Angels. Give me fucking Giolito, Lopez, Crone, and Grichuk at the deadline for no reason.
Think of the team we could have had if he would have traded Mayo at the right time, Heston at the right time, all these AAA merchants. Kobe Mayo, if he was in AAA right now, he'd be batting 400 with
Yep.
30 homers. Same, that's what Heston does every time he goes down. But Elias just glazes these dudes so hard, gets attached to them like a clingy girlfriend, and then won't get rid of them.
I'll
And now it's
find
too
you.
late. You
Yeah,
really
yeah.
want to make a move? Trade Adley. We have Basayo locked up. He's better offensively than Adley. Defensively, he's terrible, but who cares? Who cares? Get
I
another James McCann to catch. Trade
yeah, that's
Adley. See what you can get for him. The Yankees get Adley. Unstoppable.
yeah. I mean, let's that. I mean, that would be the next logical. Like I said, like it's obviously like the big one's Taylor Ward, but like if they do want to get like, I mean, I think that's more of an indictment on Elias's tenure as a GM if he decides to peel off Adley though. So I seriously don't think he's going to do that. It's like that's why he
God,
hasn't cut the general yet, because he's like he knows as soon as he cuts him, it's like that's going to make me look bad.
Jackson Holiday looks so outmatched and lost in the batter's box. It is insane.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. Batting exactly 200 on the dot. Jackson Holiday could have had Scooble for him. All right, last up. This is a debate I've seen a little bit online. I think it's fascinating. I do love a good Hall of Fame debate, and I think a very fascinating case. He's only 33, so he does have some more years left, but it's Kyle Schwarber. There are two camps when it comes to the Kyle Schwarber Hall of Fame debate. Obviously, he's going to make it or he's not going to make it. It's a little more nuanced than that. So, like, people are theorizing that, like, if Schwarber, because he needs 131 more homers to get to the 500 mark. He's like I said, he's only 33, so he's probably gonna play for 5 more years. Like the two camps are, if you get to 500 home runs, that's good enough. Like growing up, you're taught the metrics for a Hall of Famer are 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. Full stop. So if Schwarber gets to that number, regardless of the rest of his stats, look like he's a Hall of Famer. The flip side is the people that say that's not good enough, and that if he gets in, he'll certainly have the lowest WAR of any of the Hall of Fame members. So he's rocking a 22 career WAR through 12 years right now in the show. It's less than 2 a year. Where do you kind of fall in the two camps? So hypothetically, Schwarber gets 500. Does he get into the Hall of Fame?
I'm a big proponent of those major category statistical numbers. I think any player that gets to 500 home runs is a Hall of Famer. And he's doing it in an era where the pitching is better than ever, day in and day out. Sure, your guys like Bonds and Griffey who hit 500 homers, yeah, they were facing guys like Pedro and Clemens and Randy Johnson. But once you got to like the three, four, and fifth guys in those rotations who were throwing 87 miles an hour, yeah, you're going to boost those homer numbers. You get to the three, fourth, fifth guys in the rotation today, they're pumping 96, 97. Bullpen guys come in, they're all throwing 100. Like, I think it's much more impressive to hit 500 homers today than it is back then. And yeah,
I
the
would
WAR
agree with
numbers
that.
are low. He's a defensive liability, but you can't look at him offensively and be like, yeah, he's not a Hall of Fame guy.
It's just the rest of his so his Hall of Fame resume. You look at like the body of work. Obviously, the WAR like we talked about is bad, but only 3 All-Stars, 1 Silver Slugger, 1 World Series, but like that's a team thing. So like he's never won an MVP. Like there's only been 2 position players who have ever been inducted this millennium with a sub 40 WAR, and that's Bill Mazeroski and Harold Baines, and both of them were like, whoa, that was kind of iffy. Um, so like if he gets in there with like a 30 career WAR with 500 home runs, it's like ah, he might have to get the Harold Baines route, like the weird committee puts him in 10 years later. Like, I don't. The only devil's advocate point I can make it against myself, I guess, would be like you said, like where would the bar be for Hall of Famers in 10 to 15 years? Like it's kind of trending downward now. So, who knows? By the time he's eligible, they might be like so starved for those kind of guys. Like, yeah, fuck it. Let's put him in.
Well, when you look at the way the game's played now, it's like either way, like currently you're gonna have to drastically relook at the way you're voting pitchers in the Hall of Fame. Do you have to do that with hitters as well?
Yeah.
And especially the emergence of like these DH type guys, David Ortiz, Kyle Schwarber, like Ortiz. I mean, Ortiz played first base like his entire career, but Schwarber is pretty much permanent DH. But it's like, do the Cubs win that World Series if Schwarber doesn't come up and help them out? Do the Phillies make deep runs every single year if it's not for Schwarber hitting 50 homers? Like,
Yeah. It's a fascinating debate. I kind of lean no. I kind of because like we talk about like homers alone is like not enough to like justify somebody being a good player. If that was the case, Joey Gallo would be like a god tier player. Like homers by themselves with a low average, it's like it's such an unsexy player. Like I understand like 50 homers is sick. I get it, but like you're batting 220 every year and like you provide nothing and like your defensive. I look his defensive numbers. Do I have it? I think he's like a career negative 56 defensive run saved or something.
he
It's
was a
like bad.
catcher converted to outfielder, converted to first baseman for a bit in Boston.
Yep. I mean, one year in the outfield, he had negative 20 defensive runs saved.
Yeah, he's not a good fielder, but I still say so what?
Yeah. I
You
don't
got
know.
to think he would have won the MVP in the NL last year if it wasn't for the biggest generational freak, probably best player of all time, Otani.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same argument this year. Like Schwarber, in any other year, Schwarber would probably win it, but Otani pitches and hits, and he's elite at both. He's putting up numbers nobody ever has.
Baseball Reference has the Hall of Fame statistics section, and they put him as a left fielder, which is so unfair. Like, they should change him to the DH. In his career versus an average Hall of Fame left fielder, he has a 20 career peak WAR. The average career of a Hall of Fame left fielder is 41 WAR. Like, he's averaged 2.6 WAR for 162. The average Hall of Fame left fielders average 5. So it's like
But
it's a
you can't put him in the left field category. He's a DH.
I
You got
know,
to
but he's
make your
played
own.
so much outfield though that like the DH has only become a recent phenomenon.
And you got to adapt who you vote into the hall based on that recent phenomena. He's DH.
He was a left fielder until 2024.
It's going to be the same kind of argument with Jordan. Like, yeah, he's a left fielder, but in reality, he's probably should be a permanent DH.
Well, how long do they wait for Edgar Martinez to get in as a DH? And like these guys are low. I mean, Harold Baines didn't get in until that special committee. It's like
Well,
these guys are
he probably shouldn't have been in.
no. His numbers vary. The pride of Easton, Maryland, Harold Baines. Yeah, should not be in the Hall of Fame. Don't know why he's in there. But Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens aren't. Got it. Um, Yeah, it's so messed up. Baseball is the one Hall of Fame that just gets people's blood boiling, dude. It's like it's a museum with plaques, but like there'll be guys arguing online, getting red in the face, be like, he should be in there. Put him in."
You put the steroid users in and just put asterisks next to their
Yeah,
name. You can put them in a separate wing if you want to, but
it's a
that is like the story of the game. Steroids were a
museum.
big part of baseball. You can't tell the story of baseball without it.
Saved
Like,
baseball.
and you already have guys in the Hall of Fame who use steroids.
Yeah,
So put them in.
it's a museum. It should tell the story of baseball. Don't really understand why the best hitter and the best pitcher aren't in there. So, um, who knows? It is fun though. If you've never been, you should go up to Cooperstown. It's like my dad and I went, and then I went up with a buddy not that long ago. But all time guys trip, just walking around, just like looking at like talking ball, dude. The whole town is ball. It's the best.
It's on my bucket list. I've never been, and I really want to. And maybe one day I'll see Kyle Schwarber in there.
Is it you gonna go to his induction just out of principle? Not even a Phillies
Maybe,
guy.
maybe we'll see.
Yeah. Oh man, we covered so much ground. These pods they can run for 3 hours. These are just like, these are our tech conversations just played out on video form. So always love talking shop, even though we don't agree on a lot of the positivity versus negativity stuff. But that's kind of why it's fun. It's like the every debate show needs a Stephen A to Max Kellerman yelling at each other.